So I'd like to welcome Brian Fullerton from Brian's Lawn Maintenance back to the Lawn Care Business Success podcast. Only the second person that I have ever interviewed twice on the podcast. Welcome, Brian. How are you doing?
What's up, brother? How are you? How you doing?
I'm doing awesome.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
very much for coming on to the show. I really do appreciate your time. We had some technical issues here before the show, but you're a trooper. You stuck with it.
Every time I do a podcast with you, man, I mess up the whole internet. I have no idea why.
No, I don't think it was your fault, but
Too
we
funny.
got through it. Awesome.
Mhm.
So super excited to have you back. I'm just going to recap for those that didn't hear you on the first time I interviewed you. It was episode number 89, the first time around. That was on February 28th, 2017. You, at the time, were on YouTube for less than 1 year. You had your 1 year anniversary coming up on March 7th of that
Mhm.
year. And at the time of the interview, you had 1,500 subscribers.
Wow.
And
How about
in
that? That's
and you
sweet.
currently sit at 45,000 subscribers and 445 videos, and currently almost 7 million views.
Sounds good to me, man. Cool. Yeah, it's
That is
ridiculous.
insane.
Yeah,
The rise, and what gets me is how quick it was within those 2 years. What do
sure.
you think about that when you think about this the last couple of years?
I mean, honest answer, it's just been fun. It's been crazy. First off, I even appreciate you even having me on the podcast again, because I think when you reached out to me 2 years ago, we didn't know each other back then, and
Mhm.
we've been able to build a friendship since then and
Mhm.
keep in touch, of course, more so in the off season than the regular season because we're
Yep.
busy. But I think back then, like, you were one of the first guys with a podcast, and when you asked me to come do one, I said, sure, I have no idea what I'm doing or how to do it, but maybe I can tell my story and just, see who's out there and what we have going on, and maybe just help people with some tips and some people getting into the industry. And yeah, same thing. We had just started YouTube,
Mhm.
and you were just one of the new people, part of the Echo UAG program as well. And so we were going to meet up in person in 2 or 3 months anyway back then.
Yep.
Um, so that being said, it was just really cool to do a podcast, get things started, and very humble beginnings for sure with YouTube. I didn't know I only had 1,500 subscribers. I mean, honestly, that sounds like a lot. Few people have no idea. I never thought I'd personally get more than about 100 subscribers, and it sounds so like humble to say and so cliche, but I didn't know. I had no clue.
Mhm.
I didn't even know it would turn into what it is today. I was just trying to review equipment that nobody else was reviewing back then at the time. And it's funny that you even bring this up, because I was talking to my wife about a month ago on this topic, and she goes, "I figured you would get a couple hundred subscribers, but I never banked on you getting more than 1,000."
Mm.
I'm like, "You didn't even believe in me?" She's like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, I believed in you. I
Yeah.
just I just didn't think it'd be more than 1,000." I'm like, "Well, there we go." So
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think
It's
it was
it's
shocked everybody.
yeah, it's mind-boggling to think when you think about a lawn care channel,
Sure.
like what the interest that people would have, but it's just absolutely insane. So like I said, I don't, for a second interview, I don't like asking the same questions, because people can refer to episode 89 if they want to hear about how you started lawn care and your lawn care business and all of that.
Mhm.
But for those of listeners that may be living under a rock, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Yeah, Cliff Notes. We live in Metro Detroit, Michigan. So I'm in the burbs, about 40 minutes west of Detroit. And this is my 12th season in business that we're going into, obviously, here in the spring. Yeah, we run about 100 plus weekly clients. I always say 100 plus. It just keeps it really easy now for YouTube, because we do a lot more work than that, and we picked up a lot more work. I always tell people, like, what you see on YouTube is only 5 or 10% of my actual business. And over the winter here, we picked up some more commercial work, which I may or may not throw on YouTube, just because I had no idea that people, when people watch videos and they're 4 states away, no big deal. But now we have dozens of people that know exactly where my sites are, where we
Mhm.
live. and I never would have connected those dots because things are getting pretty crazy pretty quickly here. But yeah, so we do about 100 plus weekly residential accounts, about a half a dozen commercial sites, and 3 or 4 commercial sites. But those they're big accounts relative for me. They might be 5% of my business, but they're probably 20% of my business's revenue. So there's some pretty large accounts in there. We do some snow removal. I could probably triple my snow removal game, but this is only my second winter going into things with plowing commercially. So we're learning every day. And so I'm 10 years, 12 years into lawn care landscaping, lawn maintenance, I should say, about 2 years into starting to provide landscaping solutions. And this is now my second winter offering snow removal solutions. Yep.
Awesome. So you do, in fact, despite what the trolls say, run a real lawn care business.
We do.
And not just
do.
a YouTube celebrity.
It's arguable. Everybody thinks that we have we're green screens and actors, and so where that all came from was another guy in the industry. He said I was an actor, and he was a buddy, and we were cutting up, but we just ran with it about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and because he's like, you always look pretty, you're never dirty, like he's like, you got this like ideal rig, whatever, and I'm like, dude, I keep joking that I'm actually a patsy for the NALP, the National Association of Landscape Professionals or whatever, and like they're paying me secretly to like trick people to get into the green industry to replenish the rakes, and and some of you guys are like, I knew it, but guys, like, we're just a regular. I know we look good and we clean up and the whole deal, but telling you what, during the summer, man, we work, we sweat, and it's really funny. I wish that I could have recorded the infancy of my business, but that just wasn't a thing that people did, like vlogging and videos and YouTube. And number two, YouTube didn't even exist, man. It was the evolution of dance, right? So it was a way different YouTube.
Yeah. What year did you start your business?
It would be 07, I think, if I had to put a start date. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So last year, I would say, was an epic year for you. In fact, I'm officially dubbing 2018 the year of Brian's lawn maintenance.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it was just awesome to watch.
Does it come with a bonus check or anything? How does that work?
So you've done a lot of work with brands, obviously Echo UAG, with Steel now as well, which was a tough one to get into. Craftsman, Milwaukee, among other product collaborations, including some really cool standout projects, like the one with Stand Genetic and Right Mowers, where you did comparing stand-ons. That was a pretty epic video to watch and to see that all come together. So maybe tell us about that experience.
Well, hey, first off, Stan called me up. He said he was doing a special project with Ed Wright. He couldn't talk details, but he literally called me up. It was probably July, August. And he said, hey, what are you doing on, I don't remember, August 20th. Right. And I said, I'm doing whatever you're doing. Right. So I'm like, you're calling for a reason. So, very, very blessed, very thankful that some of those doors opened up. But Ed Wright wanted to do a project. Stan wanted to do a project with him, reviewing mowers, the whole deal. And I was probably just the lucky guy on the totem pole to get a phone call to go hang out with those guys. I will say I'm not big time. I'm not, the face of this or the face of that. I'm just along for the ride, man, having fun. And I think it's just been crazy, kind of the doors that have opened up. I never would have expected anything that came through in 2018. None of that was really on the books in February, March, or April, of 2018. I'll be honest with you. It was just windows and doors started opening up, and I'm along for the ride. I like a good time. I have no idea what I'm doing, so it's not like it's premeditated or anything like that. I think people give me a little bit too much credit. I'd love to pretend like it was all orchestrated and thoughtful, but if there's a way that I can help these companies grow and help people get latest and greatest info and just help people save time and money and energy and hassle, then it's been a really good little trinity of a relationship with everybody. So yeah.
That's very, very cool. And I see that sort of same trend going among other YouTubers as well, talking about that, even channels that aren't, um, haven't grown to the size that yours has, with guys just having opportunities, um,
Sure.
coming along because of their exposure over the internet, with YouTube. So yeah, it's pretty neat to see, especially, um, knowing, on my side, the amount of work that you're putting in, to see that all come together,
Sure.
and pay off for you is pretty awesome
Thanks,
to
man.
see. Yeah, that's totally cool. So another neat project that I thought, for you this year was that you were a guest speaker with Jason Creel for his lawn care life seminar.
Man.
Was another thing that I was like, who would have thunk? Like, if I were to ask Brian, you're going to be a guest speaker,
Yeah.
conference, what went through your mind with that?
Uh, well, it's a lot of thoughts went through my mind, like fear, doubt, anxiety, because I'm not a public speaker.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys, I mean, people got to realize, like, I'm just like you. I'm a lawn care landscape guy.
Mhm.
I live in my truck. I sit on a lawnmower. I have headphones in, listening to podcasts like this, and I'm quite frankly totally content with never talking to anybody during the day.
Mhm.
Like I look and probably sound personable, and I am, I guess, but natural state, I'm quiet. Like, give me a book
Yeah,
or my phone, and I'm just going to go in the corner and mind my own business. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I was in talks with Jason 3 or 4 months out, just planning purposes for his event, and he called me up. And Jason Creel is literally one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. In fact, I was on the phone with him yesterday for about 45 minutes. He had a live event, and I've been picking his brain about a lot of stuff regarding his live event, which
Mhm.
I ain't saying nothing, but because there's some stuff that I'm trying to work on in 2019.
Okay.
But that being said, he invited me in to speak, and I was like, "What do you want me to speak about?" He goes, "You have the gift of gab. Just talk to people for 35 minutes and come up with a fun idea." And I'm like,
Mm.
"Uh-huh." I said, "Can I
Yeah.
have a little bit more
Yeah,
guidelines and
guidance.
parameters, or I'm gonna mess this up?" So he gave me a topic, and I thought it was a fun time. It was definitely a learning lesson. I'm not one to get up in front of 150 people all gusto and go share. But I do appreciate the responsibility and the opportunity. I did plan for it. I probably did more work on that than any video or any other topic I
Mm,
did in 2018. And
mm.
it was an amazing opportunity for sure. And in fact, 2 months before, Keith Kalfas did an event in
Okay.
Michigan, right where I live, and I got to do the same thing there. There's about
Okay.
another 100 people, and I was literally like, "You're crazy. Y'all are crazy." But
Yeah.
again, it's just fun getting to meet people and interact with people, and the reception of people like, "Dude, great job. I love your videos," and the feedback. So it's a responsibility, and I took it way serious to do a good job, and hopefully it was a fun time for everybody who did get to be there in person or saw those videos and audios later. So
Mhm.
yeah, who would have thought? You know what I mean? It's fun
Yeah.
little opportunities like that keep popping up, and again, I'm just along for the ride. So
Yeah, that's just awesome. So crazy to think, and you're mentioning there being nervous and talking in front of 150 people, and it's funny to think because it's like you're so used to talking to a camera, and this is coming
right.
from a guy. You'll post a video in the morning, and by lunchtime it's got 8,000 views or something, and yet you're like nervous about talking to 150 people when
Uh
it's
huh.
almost the same sort of
Hey,
thing there.
I was Googling like intros to a public speech, like jokes for public speech is like public speech outlines, like
Mm,
when I got to record a video for 9 minutes, it's a little bit
yeah,
more easier, and I've done it 400 times.
yeah,
But
yeah.
public speaking, I'm like, oh God, no. And then, so I'm literally like taking notes and trying to pretend like I know what I was on the plane making edits to my speech, and the
Yeah.
lady next to me goes, we're just making friends with the person on the plane next to you. And I'm like, I have no idea. I'm going to the speaking thing. She's like, you're speaking? I go, uh-huh. She's like, really? And I go, because you can just tell. She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, because she sees me in
Yeah,
my natural state. Like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
anyway, it was fun.
That's and actually, yeah, you mentioned the Keith Kalfas one too. I thought when I was thinking last night about it. I thought there was one with him,
Mhm.
but I couldn't remember and I couldn't find, so I didn't want to mention it in case I was wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so that's cool. That
Good time. Another good event.
yeah, you had done
Definitely
it.
big guy.
So, your experience this year at GIE.
Mhm.
So how was that this year? And you arranged a breakfast meetup as well
Sure.
that I saw. Yeah. So how was that experience this year at GIE? I'm sure it gets crazier and crazier each
It
year that's gone by.
it is. Again, I say this with the most like humility one could muster up. Like if
Mm,
it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. Like the event was beyond crazy cool. So like hats off to the GIE folks as well. They put on a phenomenal event, and I'm thankful to plug into an opportunity like that. And I know Chuck with the GIE and all those guys that run it, and they do an amazing job. But it was pandemonium. Because we have made quite a few connections with companies, like
hmm
a lot of them. I was like kissing babies and shaking hands, right? And I had like every 25 minutes, I had to be at another booth pretty
Wow.
much the whole time. And it was crazy because I wanted to take that time that's really valuable and network. And I always encourage people to network to bring some great content to folks in 2019. And the stuff we're lining up in the pipeline, it takes a lot of time and effort and coordination, right? And so
Mm,
the stuff we're working on in 2019 is going to be just phenomenal because with all the contacts and the companies we're working with, and I'm not spilling the beans here just yet,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
But it's going to be really really good, and people are going to love it. And so it was pandemonium. I couldn't. And then on the other side of it was the meeting of the fans and just other
hmm
people who do YouTube and social media. And I want to meet these folks as much as folks want to meet me because I'm seriously just another guy out there hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I mean, literally, we couldn't walk 5 feet without getting to talk to someone. And I'm just one of those guys. I want to give people the time of day where we would have a good 10-minute conversation, like, hey, where are you from? Where are
Mhm.
you at? Like, what do you guys do? Like, how's your business? And answer questions and just get to meet people. But I guarantee I've met 200-300 people. It was
Wow.
I couldn't even talk to the industry company reps because when I went into so and so's booth, 15 people would mob you. And I guess, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I get it, I appreciate it. It's still really awkward and weird.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of like it, but it's kind of, I don't know, man. It's good, it's fun, but
Yeah.
it makes me also freaked out. Like I go to that environment and 400 people want to mob you, and then I can go to the movies and nobody knows who you are, and I'm like, thank gosh, because
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Yeah. You
hide.
get that balance. Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say this. There's a true story. I was at Benihana's little hibachi restaurant,
Okay.
about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and we were celebrating my mom's birthday with my family, and we had a whole restaurant booth, section
hmm
around the grill, and there's a guy that's watching, probably watched the video. He knows who he is, and he comes up to me and he like taps my shoulder and he's like, "Hey," he goes, Brian's Lawn Maintenance," and I'm like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Oh my God, my wife pointed you out. I watch your videos on YouTube." And he's like, "This is my wife, and you need to meet my kids." And I'm like, "Okay." And he was so cool. He was the nicest guy, and his wife's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
waving, she's like,
Yeah.
"Let's
Yeah.
take a picture."
Yeah.
And and I was like, "Okay." And he leaves, and he's a really cool dude. He's super nice, really respectful. And I sit back down at the little grill spot, and I got 7 other people staring me down. My mom, my brother, my older brother, my
Yeah.
brother's girl, and they're like, "What the
Yeah.
heck was that about?" And my brother's wife, and she's our age, she was like, "Is that like a fan? Is that like a fan? Is that what you call them?" I go, "Why are you so weird? Like, they're just regular people." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she was having a good time. And so apparently I can't even go out in public because there's people that chase us down on the highway, doing like
Wow.
the trucker thing
Yeah.
now. I've
Yeah.
seen a
Yeah.
couple kids, and I posted stuff on Instagram because I'm a nerd. I think it's so funny. So if you guys ever see
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
say hey,
Yeah.
but
That's
I don't know.
cool, especially with
We're
your
just,
rig. So easy to spot out there, right?
the rig is very identifiable, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's happening more and more, and it's really funny
Yeah.
and weird at the same time. So I eat it up. I think it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. That is so cool. I've, here in Canada, I've got some good relative obscurity.
Sure.
Over 70% of the podcast audience is from the US.
Oh,
So,
there you go.
I'll go to my dealer day and stuff, and most people have no idea anything that I do, which is completely fine. But this past year, I had like one person like yell out my name, and I looked over and I'm like, who me?
Oh, that's what's
Right?
up.
And they
That's
recognized me. I
funny.
was like, oh, that's it. That it was like being in the Twilight Zone, right? Because I was like, oh,
Sure. Nobody knows on the back end you got tens of thousands of downloads on a podcast, and like
it's
you
like
have this little baby that nobody knows about, right?
it's just crazy. And then I only had it happen one other time here locally. I was selling a mower, and I,
Oh,
met up with the guy. I said, I'll meet you, in the parking lot of this park, because I'm not going to give you my home address, sort of thing, right? So
sure.
I pull up and I get out, and he yells from across the parking lot, "Hey, I know you. You're part of the reason I started my lawn care business." I'm like,
No kid.
wow, like that's great. So I
That
can't
is,
even imagine on the scale of you getting, that many people. It's just like
who would have
crazy.
thought? You need to
So,
when you. I know you have a goal to get to GIE, and
yeah,
maybe in 2019 for sure. It sounds like it might
yeah,
work out better than
yeah,
last year.
yeah.
And I guarantee the same thing will happen to you, man. Because for real, people love your podcast, and you're a huge resource to the community. So I would imagine you'll have the same fanfare when you go down to Louisville.
That's crazy. So like I mentioned there, and it's really neat that you did things like you said, you were going to GIE, you're getting mobbed at these booths and stuff, but you still made time in saying and putting out there on social media, "Hey, I'm having breakfast at this place.
Mm,
Come join me." So I thought that was super cool that you were still like your time was being completely stretched every minute, and
sure.
you were still giving to the community to
Yeah.
those
I,
opportunities.
I wanted to make sure because some people go just to meet the YouTube people, and I do. I mean, it's networking with companies is cool, but I can do that on the phone and web conferences, right?
Mhm.
But I want to meet the people in the community and mill about, and people who support us. I want to support them, yeah. So we did a breakfast at a local restaurant down there, and I was surprised that like 40 some people showed up, considering it was at 7 a.m. on Friday morning.
Mm.
And if you know GIE, and you'll totally experience this, Wednesday, Thursday literally wipe you out. I mean,
Wow.
you walk, I don't know, 10 miles, and you're running around trying to shake hands and meet people. And so and most people, it's a little vacation, so they stay up late and they go downtown to 4th Street Live, and it's a beautiful little downtown area, tons of restaurants and bars and food. And so a lot of people opted to extend the party a little bit later than others, and but we still had a good turnout that Friday morning. There was about 40 plus people there. It was crazy. I actually had to call. This is a funny story. And I like little stories like this because nobody
Mhm.
really shares stuff like this, I feel. And I made a phone call to the restaurant, and I go, "Hey, my name's Brian. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that I might be bringing some friends in tomorrow to your breakfast nook. I put a little message out on Instagram and YouTube, and like 40 to 100 people might show up. I don't actually. Can I restart this phone call because I don't want to sound like a moron right now?" And
Yeah,
and the guy was like, "Thanks for the update." Like, and I'm
yeah,
thinking to myself, like, this guy's probably like, who is this guy? What is he
yeah,
saying? And I've never made a phone call like that where I'm like,
yeah,
I'm a social influencer bringing
yeah,
50
yeah,
people to your restaurant. And I hung up, and my wife goes, smooth, smooth.
yeah.
And I'm like, so
That's
well,
that's
what do you
awesome.
say? What do you
Yeah,
say? I don't
yeah,
know. So
yeah, yeah. That's funny. Well, at
I
least
love
you're
it.
trying to give them a heads up.
That's
Now,
100% truth.
yeah. So speaking of meetings here, um, you've also organized a local Michigan meetup the past few years, um,
Yeah.
and you had an epic turnout this past meetup.
Hmm. Yeah.
Seems to be turning into its own like crazy event happening each year. So, and you did sort of the same thing there, which I thought was neat. You posted about I think it was on Instagram saying, "Hey, try to park on the side. Don't block the parking lot for the rest of the businesses and stuff." So that
Right.
I thought that was kind of neat too. So maybe speak about that event.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, in the winter, it's a little bit slower time, generally speaking, for a lot of guys in the Midwest, but
Mhm.
especially in Michigan, unless you're doing snow and salt, and it's been a pretty light year this year. But yeah, I'd say like once a time in the winter, and maybe once again in the summer, it's fun to just kind of connect and do a little meetup. And
Mhm.
I had no idea that 40 or 50 people would show up.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, we picked a nice sandwich shop. It's a sit down place, and oh my god, I swear I made the exact same phone call to those guys. I said, "This is so funny. It's funny to me." I said, "Hey, I have 40 to 50 friends. It could be 20, but it could be 80. I don't know." And they're like, "So do you want to block off a section and like rent it out?" I go, "No, no, no, because I don't have that kind of money. I don't want, because they're like, do you want to put a deposit down for $300 and hold that side of the restaurant?" I go, "No, no,
Yeah.
no, I don't know."
Yeah.
And but anyway, we had like 50 people show up from. Man, people travel from like Illinois,
Wow.
Indiana, with some people from Kentucky that came up, and one guy came from like Northwest Illinois, and he was going to make a 3-day road trip out of it and hit some other stuff along the way. And then we had probably 20 local people there, and it was fun just to meet everybody, and I put a special request in to Keith Kalfas to see if he wanted to come down,
Mhm.
and he's to me still larger than life. I mean that
Mhm.
guy has done a lot for a lot of people,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's just one of those like founding father kind of people. I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so I sent him a message. I said, "Hey, dude, do you want to come hang out at my meetup and be like my little special guest, person?" And he goes, "Sure." He goes, "Whatever I can do to help you out." I go, "Great, because I already told everybody you're coming." And 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 that's just how I roll, man. And so, and Keith goes smooth,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so we had 40 or 50 people show up there, and it was good. We were there for maybe 3 hours, and we had people all over the place taking photos and videos, and I wish I could interact with more people one on one, but it was a really good time, man, and
Yeah,
things
that's
are
cool.
just it's just kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, I was just, kind of following along there through Instagram and thing. And I was just like, wow, like what a difference from just 1 year, the amount
Yeah,
of people that showed up and stuff.
sure.
And next year, it's like, you're going to be like Naylor soon trying to, find a mega cavern to host this.
Well, it's there's always some strategy behind the how and the why. If we can get 40 people to show up at breakfast and 40 to 50 people to show up here, it's just I don't know. Maybe there's some madness method to the madness of trying to get a pulse out there of how many people we can attract if we were to put a date on the calendar and see what comes up. So I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
but
That's yeah, that's cool. So I want to get to a bit about goal setting. So I
oh,
know you're a strong believer in setting and visualizing goals.
mhm,
You've achieved a bunch of them this past year, the new enclosed trailer, the new company branding, and of course, the new truck. I
mhm,
remember specifically a time when you were talking about going to the Ford dealership after hours
mhm.
to look at trucks and imagine yourself driving them. Speak about your thoughts on goal setting and the importance of visualizing those goals.
That's a really good question. That's a really good topic. Um, I think there's a lot of people out there that are probably more authoritative on that topic
Hmm.
than I am for sure. But for me, the cliff notes is, and I've said this in many of videos, and I'm sure you've heard me say this, is you have to start with the end in mind. I think a lot of people just kind of jump into things. I know I have, and I do.
Hmm.
But you almost have to start with the exit strategy or the end goal, the end game, and then you can work backwards and chop that up into bite-sized little pieces and smaller goals to hit the big goal, right? And so yeah, 2 years ago, I knew we had enough residential clients doing snow removal to warrant the payment on the truck, the bills for my overhead. We had the clientele, which is usually the tougher part about
Yeah.
upgrading a business. But and then buying the truck, that was a huge accomplishment for sure. But just adding snow removal to my business in general was a whole nother beast and animal, and I wanted to get into it. And so I had some really good friends that helped me with that. My friend Mike Bedell, he's the debt-free landscaper friend.
Yeah.
He helped me, coached me. He saved me honestly $10,000 to $15,000 without making wrong choices and bad decisions. So forever thankful for him, and took him out to probably 3 or 4 steak dinners, right? And so yeah, I mean, I had a couple big goals for 2017 and 18 that we did hit. We hit some revenue goals for the first time, which I was jacked about and thankful for. We had some net profit goals, which was really exciting. But YouTube as well. I wanted to hit 35,000 subscribers, and I think we did that maybe late fall, which was just, and you got to imagine, I set that goal when I had about 15 to 18,000. So
Okay.
35,000 was like, you're blowing my mind. Maybe
Mm.
we'll get 25,000.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just been it's been crazy. It's been fun, but I will say this: we work really, really hard and really intentional to get to where we're trying to go. So I
Okay.
always try to tell people, like, you can visualize all you want, but if you're not hitting that transmission and putting some work
Mm.
and the feet to the ground and making that happen, you can visualize dreams and all day long. I
Yeah.
always heard somebody say, what is it? A dream or a goal is a dream with a deadline, right?
Mhm.
We've all heard that one. So I
Yeah,
think a
yeah.
lot of people spend time dreaming, but they don't put action plan together.
Yeah.
And again, my goals aren't super lofty. I'm a pretty chill guy.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's totally cool. I think a lot of it has to do with mindset as well and taking responsibility for what you're doing. I know when I was younger, it would be like, every excuse in the book as to why
Sure,
something failed, why something didn't. And now, as I've gotten older, it's like, well, I can say that stuff, but
sure,
I'm only lying to myself, right?
totally,
Like, I know the truth myself. So now I just make a point of taking full responsibility. So, for example, if the podcast or say the YouTube channel is not, like, I'll be right up front, I didn't hit the subscribers that I wanted for 2018 for my YouTube channel.
sure,
And in the past, I would go, YouTube doesn't work, it's against me, the algorithm, blah blah blah. But now instead I look at it and go, okay, I didn't meet that goal. Oh, I'm not working hard enough,
sure.
I'm not putting enough effort into it to
Hmm.
get to those goals. Because when I do have those little bursts of putting out videos consistently stuff, I see the subs go up. And
Sure,
when I don't, I see them drop off. So
sure.
it's like, right. So you get to that point, right, about that. So I think that has a big part about that. And you're always one that I see as, you're like on that same mindset of taking full responsibility. You know what it takes to go into it.
Yeah, it's funny. As much success as we've had with YouTube, I didn't. I kind of hit my goals, but I'm still not where I want to be. And
Yeah.
I blame YouTube just as much as you do.
Yeah.
So, you know, it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
In fact, funny relatable story. I was at the gym. The last 3 weeks, I went back to working out. It's just me versus Jimmy John's. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
gotta get rid of John's little belly, right? And while I was there was another guy there. He goes, "Hey, are you like a new member?" And he was just being friendly in the class. And I said, I have been here before. It's been about 3 years since I've been to this gym." And he goes, "Cool." He goes, "So what do you do or whatever?" I go, "Honestly, I run two businesses, a couple businesses. Things have just gotten busy, got away from me." I said, "But the reality is that I made excuses for the last 36 months to not continue on my membership." I said, as much as I'm, slaying dragons and conquering the world like everybody else out there hustling, I said, the reality is that it just wasn't a big enough priority for me. And I made
Yeah.
excuses, and,
Yeah.
and justifiable or not, even if I thought I was busy enough, I'm sure if I really, really needed to or wanted to, I could have made it. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think some people like leave that on the table. I always try to look inward before I start blaming outward. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. I can relate.
That's a great transition to the next topic, which is all about YouTube.
Oh boy. Oh
So
boy.
most lawn care owners are familiar with hard work, and they don't shy away from it.
Hmm.
But being a content creator takes it to a whole nother level, especially when done at the level that you're doing it at. I'm sure you get, and we talked about this, the trolls that come out with the classic comments of, I don't have time to make videos because I run a real business. Speak a bit about the trolls and how you find time to make and edit so many videos?
Honest answer. First off, I appreciated everybody who comments and weighs in, whether they support or they don't support. I don't really consider anybody a troll,
Okay.
or a whiner or a complainer. I just feel like maybe they're just misunderstanding a little bit.
Hmm.
Honestly, outside looking in, I'd probably feel the exact same way as they do.
Hmm.
How does somebody run a successful business but still have time to make videos 3 and 4 times a week?
Yeah.
And outside looking in, I would probably feel the same way. Like, well, the reason I'm not doing review videos in YouTube is because I'm busy growing my business. That's
Hmm.
fair. I understand. That's probably an honest, real perspective that
Yeah.
they have. I think where some people miss the connection, though, is me trying to run and grow another business, which my YouTube channel is. It
Hmm.
is not a project I take lightly. I'm more invested into it. Now, when I first got started, it was just throwing mud up on the wall and see what sticks and just having fun. And I
Hmm.
still kind of do that and have fun. But where some people might just have that misunderstanding is the fact that some people take their free time and they watch Netflix, they watch Game of Thrones,
Hmm.
they watch, episodes of reruns of The Office, and they go to sporting events and keep up on their favorite college basketball team. And
Hmm.
that's so cool. That's awesome. Like that's what they want to do. That's their life. That's
Yeah.
their go around. And I think that's awesome. Some people like me, I just happen to carry a GoPro with me, shoot a little bit of footage during the day. It's not like we're doing this 9 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a couple 20-minute segments, and you understand
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And I edit videos late nights and
Yeah.
weekends.
Mhm.
While somebody's watching, if somebody's watching on average, TV 20 to 40 hours a week, like the average, right? That we all hear quoted.
Yeah.
And I don't watch any TV. I haven't watched
Mhm.
TV in 15 years.
Wow.
In fact, my family is a funny story. 3 years ago, this is literally a true story. At Christmas time, about 7 people gathered around a big present in our living room, in my mom's living room at Christmas. And they all stood behind it, all proud. And they said, "It's for Brian and Liz, my wife." And we were like, "This is really awkward. It's a big gift." So we opened it
Yeah.
up, and it was a 42-inch flat panel TV, like brand
Mhm.
new, state of the
Yeah.
art. I don't
Yeah.
even know. And we both like looked at each other puzzled. We're like, "Why did you guys buy us a TV?" And we had just like got married, within that 12 months. And they said, "Well,
Yeah.
hey, we've all been over to your place. We realize you don't have a TV, and money might be tight because you guys just got
Yeah.
married and you're getting your life
Yeah. Yeah.
started. So the whole family chipped in and bought you a TV."
Wow.
And my wife and I just kind of look at each other and we're like, "Okay." So I'm literally looking at the TV on my bookshelf right now.
Yeah.
It's been unplugged and not turned on for 36 months.
Wow.
In fact, we moved it. We have no idea where the power cord is. Swear to God, true story. I need to get one on Amazon for $20. But we've never turned it. I mean, I think we turned it on one time. We watched a Netflix movie on it, and we've never watched it. And
Wow.
so the reason I say that is because my family thought like it's the staple thing to do. Who doesn't
Yes.
watch TV?
Yeah.
It's what you do.
Yeah.
And I just realized like you don't have to if you don't want to. And so when people say, "Hey, like, how do you have all this free time?" Well, you turn off TV, you stop going to sporting events, and we still do fun stuff. My wife and I, we
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
bike rides, we love working out, we have a
Mhm.
dog. I mean, we have just as active a life. People think you
Yeah.
can't live without that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so my perspective on it is I don't think people are being mean or nasty or troll like we would say in the general context. I just think they don't understand. I
Yeah.
don't think they don't understand that what I do with my free time might be different than their free time. I
Yeah.
think I always reserve the right to pass judgment on what they do,
Mhm.
but I keep that opinion to myself. And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what? I'm okay with the fact that people want to go watch Ohio State lose to University of Michigan. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm
Little
just having
dig
fun.
there.
Uh, Go blue. No. So that being said, I understand where people can come from that misguided perception, but I put 5 to 10 hours a week into YouTube. I
Mhm.
put 2, 3, 4 hours a week of combined time into Instagram. It doesn't eat my schedule up. It doesn't kill me. In the beginning, it was tough. It was rough because I didn't know how to edit videos. I didn't know how to
Yeah. Yeah.
schedule it. It's a new business. But now
Yeah. Yeah.
um, we treat it like a business. We start to make a couple bucks off of doing sponsored videos for companies or
Mhm.
the views and the AdSense. And
Yeah.
and you can make money with YouTube. And I've never said, I'm here for a nonprofit business. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a great thing. It didn't start off that way. I don't think still personally that that's the motive behind anything I do, because I love helping people and helping people steer clear of failures and hassles and distractions like I did. That's still the
Yeah, yeah,
roots. That's still the theme. That's the underlying current of what I do.
yeah, yeah.
But in 5 years, if the AdSense money gets good, and people know you can make a killing with YouTube if you do
Yeah.
it right. But you know what? Nobody's going to be there saying, "Hey, Brian, congratulations, paying your dues for 5 years."
Yeah, yeah.
It's everybody's going to say, "Look at that jerk," and it's like, "Hey, while you went to sporting events, I made sacrifices."
Yeah, yeah.
And the
Absolutely.
more I listen to successful people, and the more people listen to successful people, you realize, hey, who wants to play the long game, man?
Yeah,
It's okay. I'm
yeah,
not judging if people go to sporting events. Just please don't judge me if I
yeah,
make YouTube videos talking about lawn care.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, I'm totally with you on that. I was telling some people, I think it was at that UAG event, during sort of the evening hangout portion, we are
mhm,
talking about stuff like that. And I said, specifically, like, that's why when I started my podcast and I had 0 listeners, 0 downloads, within the first few episodes or so, I started putting ads on my
sure,
podcast. For one, it was because every podcast I listened to had ads, and
sure,
mine sounded unfinished without, some sort of ad or something in there. The other thing was that I would see guys like Keith Kalfas that would
hmm
get all this engagement on their YouTube channel and all this stuff. And then one day he decides to sell a book, and there's a little bit of backlash
hmm
coming about, oh, now he's just in it for the money. Oh, and I'm thinking, yeah, you should be giving him $20 for his book, because he's just giving you so much information for free over the
sure,
past few years. And
sure,
now all of a sudden that information isn't valid anymore because he wants to sell a book. Like, come
right.
on, you know? So
Well,
right from the beginning, I was like, I'm going to put ads on my podcast, because then they know what to expect right from the first,
yeah,
it's like, this is what it is right from the beginning. I'm not hiding that,
you,
you know,
my perspective is same thing you just said. Like outside looking in, hey, how dare that guy, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
when you're doing this, it takes investment. It takes time. Like I just bought a new Yeti microphone to do this
yeah,
podcast and
yeah,
make sure my audio is clear for people to hear
yeah,
what we're talking about, right? And that's $100. And
yeah,
so, where's that money coming from? Like,
yeah,
I get that YouTube can be a hobby, and that's
hmm,
fine. But at the level we're doing it, there's times when to shoot a YouTube video, it could cost a couple $100 just with
hmm,
equipment and gas and
yeah,
driving around town. But again, I always have empathy on those people, because I think 99% of people understand anything like in life that is worthwhile is going to take investment.
yeah,
And I think that the more you want to do a good job with cameras and audio and lighting, this isn't like it's just exclusive to lawn care, by the way.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just let's just be real. Like pick any. I mean, there's people who have $20,000 studios to make YouTube videos. It
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
start off that way,
hmm,
but because of people's reciprocity, it can grow into that. And so
yeah,
I always tell people, if I didn't know better, I'd probably have that same perspective. But
yeah, yeah,
a little bit of education, and most people understand, like, hey, that's where these affiliate links come into play. That's where, if you like the
yeah,
videos, like, it's not free. Like, I don't care who you are. Most people will realize that really quick when they start YouTube and try to do it for longer than 6 months. It takes time and investment. And you know what?
yeah,
To each their own. Actually, really relatable story. There's another guy who's got a podcast, super popular, Andy Frisella, right?
yeah,
And he's got the MF CEO project, right?
yeah,
And I honestly buy the guy's supplements from First Form, right? And this isn't an
hmm,
endorsement. I'm just saying I
yeah,
buy their supplements. I can buy any supplements I want, right? But I buy theirs because they're better quality, because they're healthier, because they have a double screened whey protein process that makes me, stronger. No, I buy them just literally as a reciprocity, as a way to say thank you to
hmm,
Andy for making
yeah,
his podcast that I listen to every day. The guy's made me smarter and more intelligent and more bold and better business acumen, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so the least I could do is buy the guy's supplements.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't care if he makes money on it. Somebody was going to be making money anyway on
yeah,
that transaction. I
yeah,
had to buy supplements. I like Andy. Of course, I'm going to buy them from Andy because he's made my life better.
yeah,
And so, again, it's just a two-way street. This business, it's been around for hundreds of years like that. It will forever be. And so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but man, the people that are loyal to me and loyal to the channel, they get it. They understand. They have no problem with us profiting, because I know I've helped a lot of people save and make money and entertain, of course. So it's a two-way street, man. It's a partnership is what I like to call it.
Yeah, it's totally cool. You see that where people feel that need that, hey, I've gotten so much value that, you know, I need to give it, you know, back. Now that podcast you mentioned, Andy Frisella's awesome podcast. Love it. If you haven't listened to it, you should.
He's crazy. He'll kick your butt.
Yeah, but just be forewarned, there's a lot of swearing in it. In fact, I'll go through times where, because like I never, ever use the F-bomb. Like, like in fact, last week, I think was the first time my kids have ever heard me say the F-bomb, because we were coming back from New Year's Eve celebrations, and my daughter opened the sliding door of the car, and I opened the driver's door, and there was something on the seat, so I put my hand on the pillar in between the two doors and reached in, and she closed the sliding door, and my finger got caught, and I was like,
yeah, that was worth it.
Looked at each other like, what? And
they was worth it.
Yeah, the car got like really quiet, and then my wife's like, "Are you okay?" or whatever, and checking my finger, and it was fine. And
the soft giant.
And I was like, by the way, excuse my French.
That's funny. That's funny. Right? I love it.
No, it's funny. I'll listen to Andy Frisella's podcast, and I'll find myself just like to myself going, "You."
Yeah. Or Gary Vee, you know. Frack. Yeah, you know.
It's funny, but so much value in his podcast, though.
Yeah, 100%, man. He seems like a cool guy, and again, you know, teach their own, you know.
Yeah, awesome. So, on your YouTube channel, what is your most viewed video?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I would probably say the leaf cleanup video.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say you do really well with either tall grass ones or the blower war.
Yeah. Well, I love doing comparisons. I haven't really done too many review videos in 2018. Okay. I just like comparing things and letting everybody else weigh in. Because I'm 10 years in, but I still know nothing. So I try not to play the authority card. But that leaf video, a couple of those did really well. I think leaf cleanup is a really big enigma to a lot of people in the landscaping industry, because it's more dynamic than cutting grass for sure, you know. And there's a lot. It's probably one of the more profitable services you can do if you do it right, in the spectrum of all the service offerings that you can offer in a lawn landscape business. So I think anytime I can do those kind of like how-to videos and the pricing basics videos, I think those really help, and they help me. It keeps me sharp too, because people weigh in, and like, if it was $250, some people are like, oh, that's $325, and other people like that's $175. So it helps me too. Again, I'm still learning.
That's totally cool.
Yeah.
So do you have a specific process or plan for making your videos? Like, do you plan them out ahead of time, or do you just make, you know, the videos as the ideas come to you?
A little bit of both. It just depends. You know, sometimes I'll turn the camera on, and a lot of the ones you see in the truck, like business mindset videos, I'll just rant. Like I want to like mentally throw up on somebody, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but because usually those are like an inspired thought, or you got done with a workout and the blood's flowing and your head's clear. Other videos, we do try to have not a script, but talking points, you know, because me personally, I hate wasting people's time. And I have a short attention span too. So if your video isn't like cohesive and making sense, or you're just like dribbling on or mumbling on, it just pulls the life force out of it. So for me, even with guys I'm shooting videos with, I'm like, look, here's our outline. We want to boom, 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 talk about these points. So we are organized, I guess is the best way to say it, because it also makes it easier. This is like the back end stuff that most people don't probably understand, and I wouldn't either, is that when you're editing a video, it makes it so much more easier to edit that video. so sometimes there's in the past I would shoot an hour and a half of video, and it would take me 4 hours to edit a
Mm.
video.
Yeah.
And now I shoot 20 minutes of video, and we trim it down to 15 minutes, and it takes me an hour for that whole process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's more intentional. One, to save me time to actually be able to do this, but number two, just some organization for us so we're all not rambling and just making stuff up. We want to be cohesive in a thought when we're trying to, and whether it's a leaf review video, blower video, or we're just mowing grass for the day. It's natural, it's organic, but there's always
Yeah.
got to be a reason for people to watch, or a
Yeah.
thought we're trying to convey.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, that just
Lawn
works for
care.
us.
Yeah, lawn care rookie Naylor told me once. I think it was during that first UAG meeting. I was asking him for tips and advice on how you film and stuff, and he says, you learn to film with editing in mind, and the order that you're recording. Don't go from one topic to some other topic and then back to that same topic, and then you're importing your files and they're all mixed and stuff. You just record in the order that you're going
Yep.
with those outlines, those things, and then it makes editing way easier because it's already sort of in order.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, so it was really neat, and I used that for my own. But still, it's funny, especially with the mowing videos. I'll do like a set up a camera, do some mowing, and then I get home, plug in the SD card, and download the footage, and it's like 43 minutes on the timeline, and it's like, okay, so how do we get this to 5?
You got it. So with Stanley and Wright Mowers, right, when we went over there to hang out with Ed Wright, that was different because we went to the conference room, had a
Yeah.
huge whiteboard the length of the wall, and we started shotting ideas up there, and organizing and categorizing. And Stanley's 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Ed Wright's a thinker.
Yeah.
They kind of work well together, but it's oil and water.
Yeah.
And I'm in this crossfire, and so I'm like, I'm doing whatever he's doing, and
Yeah.
I know. And Ed paid the way, so I'm like, yeah, let's do what Ed wants to do.
Yeah.
And I was just along for the ride. And it's funny, we left the warehouse at 9 a.m. and for real, I couldn't make this up. It was like the hottest day they had all summer. It was 97 degrees. I think for real, the real feel was like 101. And we were outside from 9 a.m. to like 5:30 p.m. No breaks, no lunch, nothing. And we recorded so much video that Ed had a power inverter in the back of his truck, and we would charge my battery, shoot with Stanley's camera. As soon as we killed that battery, we would use my camera, kill my battery. I had 2 batteries. Stan had 2 batteries. And basically, long story short, we took I took 60 gigs of video, which is like a little over 3 or 4 hours, and drone footage as well, which shoots in 4K. So it's
crazy.
Significant. It's 20. I took 25 gigs of drone footage.
Wow.
And if this sounds like Fibonacci numbers to a lot of people, I understand. But basically, I had 5 hours of video, and the size of the files was 100 gigs. And basically, like, I have to make it edit it to a 10 to 15 minute video, so it's fun, it's entertaining, there's a story, it's cohesive. And the one I just released with Ed Wright literally took me 10 hours to put together. Wow. And then when somebody it's obviously somebody who subscribes, because you know how it goes, but they immediately hit dislike, and I'm like, whatever. I'm like, they don't know that it just took 10 hours to edit. And I don't care. It's fine. It is what it is. But so sometimes those kind of scenarios happen, and you're just like, oh dear Lord. It's Stanley he's crazy. I love Stanley. That guy done a lot for me, and he's 100 miles an hour, dude. He is an animal. You know that. So
yeah, absolutely. So what's your favorite thing about making YouTube videos, especially now after so many years of doing it?
That's a really good question. I think the biggest thing I could help people with is I genuinely believe that I'm helping people save from hardship and like headache and mistakes and failures. Trying to put a thought together. I know for a fact we save people money with not buying the wrong equipment. right? Somebody might be looking at a mid-grade something, and I say, no, get the higher grade one. You're going to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if this is 400 and this is 600, it's not just costing them $200 difference. It might cost them 800 if they make both decisions, right? The middle and the high end one. And so I know we're saving money that way. And a lot of people appreciate those kind of review videos. That's why I do it. I think the coolest thing is that I can create a thought in a video and put it out there and interrupt or disrupt people's day enough to where they want to sit down and pay attention to it.
Okay.
I think it's fascinating that I always thought from the beginning, who would want to watch what I do? Who would care?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I meet people in public. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, I run a large YouTube channel on lawn care landscaping. I said, it's a niche within a genre. And they go, fascinating. I said, yeah. I said, they go, well, how many people, you know, they always say like views or subs because people know that buzzword in you know, the regular world. And I said, well, you know, 50,000 subs almost, and about 500,000 to 1 million views a month. And people like literally like, about lawnmowers? And I go, yeah. And we both know it's more than that. But John Q. Public has no clue. And I just think it's fascinating that I think I've failed. You always wonder going through life how things make sense, right? We talked about that Steve Jobs Stanford address, right?
Yeah.
And if anybody hasn't seen that, punch it into YouTube, and it's a 20-minute speech. It's an amazing, yeah. And I just think, like, I always tried to justify my 10 years leading up to starting YouTube, and I felt my business was established enough to make some fun videos. And I just think it's funny. It never made sense going through any of it, all the lessons and all the garbage and all the crap. And it's relatable and specific to me and to us because it's lawn care. But now sharing endless, people are like, where do you get your thoughts and topics and video ideas? I'm like, man, I'm just getting started. After 400 videos, I could still shoot another 100 videos this whole summer, no problem, not even think about it, from lessons learned and thoughts and just failures. And that's, you know, I guess I'm thankful now about the lessons we learned along the way. Going through it, it sucked. It wasn't fun. But maybe everything has a grand plan and a grand reason for it all, and you don't have to understand it to go through it. And I think that's still being revealed every day as both of us do what we do, and other people are out there doing what they do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've had people ask me the same thing about the podcast. How do you come up with a topic every week to talk about it? And I say, you know what, sometimes it's super easy and I jot them down in advance if it pops in my head, keep a note on my phone. Other times I'm literally, you know, I've put it off because I can't think of what I'm going to talk about. My episodes are released on Tuesday at midnight, and it's like Monday afternoon and I still haven't recorded an episode. And I'm literally sitting here with a microphone, everything's ready to go. And I'm still thinking, going like, I'm done. This is like, there's nothing. And then the idea just pops. It's the simplest little thing. And it turns into like an hour of talking about this one little thing. I think people overthink the, you know, it has to cover this. And you can make a video breaking it down to the smallest portions and fill that, because, you know, you want 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You know, it doesn't have to be this whole university diploma type information packed thing. It can be a small little snippet, because like you say, people have short attention spans.
Totally.
Yeah. So surely at this point, 100,000 subs and a silver play button have entered your thoughts. Did you ever think when you started that it would get this big?
No, for real. And I, you know, and I'm Mr. Success and Mr. Motivation and Mr. da. Yeah. I want to say yes.
I bet you behind you got that sweet looking Plemons flag.
Yeah.
I bet you if you panned the camera to the right or the left, there's the silver play button spot ready. You
got some space right here, right? I want to say yes, and I want to be like sure, but the honest answer is when I had 100 subscribers, like I actually have all these screenshots saved in a folder on my desktop,
Yeah.
of Brian's lawn crap. And
Yeah.
when I hit 100, and when I hit 250 and 500 and probably 750 and 900 and 1,000, because, and then there's probably every 1,000 after that. I have like 20, 30 saved screenshots because
Mhm.
I love to say yes. I love to say, of course. And even now, I would love to say, of course. But I don't know. You don't know. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say if we keep doing what we're doing, just mental math and so many things can project for you. And
Yeah.
sure, I love to say yes. Um, I figured like we make videos and people would watch them and it would be fun. Um, I think the other side of it was like the community that has been so loyal to me. The on my channel and even outside of my channel, a part of the community, but just the people who do the core of Brian's Lawn Maintenance and all the people that watch. I'm shocked at how many people have had my back and
Mhm.
appreciate stuff. The numbers are cool and the subs are good, but I think people get lost in the fact that they're real people.
Yeah.
They're real people, and most people just, you get lost in it, man. It's like the Matrix, right? You ever see the old
Yeah.
Matrix movie? And the guy's like, he's like, I don't even understand it anymore. All I see is redhead, blonde, brunette.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I remember that scene, and it always just hits me because when you see a video like you said that in 24 hours gets 10,000 views, let's say,
Yeah.
which still blows my mind. And I just never would have thought we would have that kind of impact,
Mhm.
more than just impressions,
Okay.
because people watching and views, that's cool, but it's the, literally, I've said this many times, it's the 5 to 10 messages and emails and DMs on Instagram a day that I get saying, hey dude, you changed my business, you changed my life,
Mhm.
thanks for XYZ, keep doing what you're doing. And I appreciate those because it gives me some external feedback other than just YouTube saying more views, more subs, because it's not tangible, it's not relational, it's not,
Yeah.
there's no human element to that.
Mhm.
But when somebody takes their time, and you get these messages too, and that's the only reason I bring this stuff up, is that when somebody shoots you an email and they Patreon or they PayPal you $20, it's not expected. You almost feel awkward even clicking accept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're like,
Yeah.
are you sure? Like, is there a
Yeah. Yeah.
catch?
Yeah.
For me personally, it's the impact. It's the fact that some kid or some guy who got laid off, who's 26 and he's freaking out, can watch our videos, knit things together, stitch a business together, even
Mhm.
as Frankenstein as it is in the beginning.
Yeah.
Go out there, provide an income, provide a lifestyle for his wife, his kid, his family, whatever he's got to do, or he's single and making his own way. Um, I don't know. I think my biggest shock was just the impact we make when I get those kind of messages. On a less intense note, yeah, I think it's fun.
Mhm.
I think 100,000 would be a pretty lofty but attainable goal this year.
Yeah.
And if I get a silver play button, I don't know. Maybe I'll bring it to GIE and people can
Yeah.
touch it and look at it and carry it around. To me, it's just a big chunk of metal. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
one day we'll have 200,000 subs, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna
You know,
say. The 100,000 will literally be like a Super Bowl moment. It'll
sure,
be like, what an achievement, right? 100,000, and the fact that
yeah,
YouTube recognizes you for that by sending a silver play button.
sure,
But somebody with the right mindset like you knows that's only scratching the surface of what's possible. You know,
sure,
so
sure,
it's like this is to other people it's like that's just insane, 100,000, but
sure.
it's like anything, it's the whole people thinking that starting a lawn care business is just this unattainable thing. It's too hard. But as you get into it, the more years, the more confidence, the more experience, you start to see that, okay, now I'm doing it. Now I'm mowing these customers every week. Now I'm doing,
Hmm.
well, why don't we add some landscaping jobs? Why don't we add some
Sure,
this? You start getting braver and braver, right? And I think
right.
it's the same thing with that YouTube, right? You're going to hit that number and it'll be like, get out of my way. There's,
Well,
YouTube, start getting the gold, silver play button, the
that
diamond.
that would be crazy. We don't know because the biggest YouTube channels for lawn care are just kind of at 100,000 or so,
Yeah, yeah,
and a lot of 50s and 60s, But
yeah,
I would love to have the support of anybody who
yeah,
wants to
yeah.
jump on the bandwagon. I think it's a win for the community because companies pay attention, more people pay attention. They treat all of us more serious. And
Yeah.
it's not, for real, it's not about me. Like it's not, if I get one, I'm not going to change anything I'm doing the next day. I'll tell you that. I'm just going to keep making more videos. But you know what's really cool is, although we joke about lawn care landscaping, there's so many people that have reached out to me with the craziest of stories. Like some guys are in the power washing businesses or real estate, and they happen to click on one of my like business mindset videos where I'm talking about having a positive attitude and route density. And they're like, hey, like I'm not even in lawn care landscaping, but this applies to this. Or sometimes I'll teach like a, just an entertaining video. And I have moms and dads that'll email me like, thanks for having clean videos and upbeat videos and positive videos with no swearing. Like my kids love watching your content more than they love watching cartoons because it's about lawnmowers, right? And moving equipment and machines. And so there's so much more that goes into it, which I never, ever would have estimated or guessed. And again, I just say it with a super humble spirit and, just wow, it's fun. And we're just getting started. I feel like we're just getting started. All of us are.
So, like I mentioned earlier, what I found amazing was just the rate of growth you had this past year. So what do you think contributed to that? Was it just the algorithm for YouTube? Was it just, certain types of videos that you were putting out?
I think the simple answer is that YouTube is, there is an algorithm, and people talk about this like it's like Skynet, right? Like it's the AI, like the robots, right? And I think a lot of people use it personally as a cop-out to not kind of understand the macro of what's going on. There are trigger points that YouTube will say, if you're uploading 4 days a week, will probably promote your videos more than somebody uploading one time a month, right? So people understand the simplicity of more is better than less.
Yes.
I.e., if you go to the gym 1 day a month, you're probably not going to be as fit as the guy that goes 5 days a week.
Yeah,
right.
Makes sense.
So if you want your 6-pack abs on YouTube, upload more video. YouTube will recognize that.
Yeah.
But I think and I just talked about this, I think the missing element for me personally is that I don't think people understand that you're trying to help people. It's not about free crap and free equipment and making money. It's and I was just talking to somebody about this 3 or 4 hours ago, and he has a YouTube channel, big YouTube channel. And I said, I think if people understand that it's about helping each other, I think if you give into the universe, it will reciprocate. And you can figure that out 100 different belief systems and value systems wise, how that works. But the reality is that if you give, you'll get. And if you help people, people will reciprocate. And I drive my whole life around the premise that, like, you've ever heard the saying, like, you can help, or you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool everybody all the time. Eventually, after 3 years, I would be found out if I wasn't honest, if there would be some crinks in the armor, some cracks in the foundation, right? So when people troll or whine or hate, like we were talking about earlier, it's just usually a lack of understanding, a lack of perspective. And I have empathy for those people. So I've never really took anything personal. Now, if you're just a mean person and you hate people, like, that's a personal problem. Okay. But I think the thing that I tried to keep perspective on all summer was, and I've said this from the beginning, because I knew I would get caught up in everything else that YouTube could offer. Like, if you worked out a best case scenario with YouTube, you can get the Ferrari when you're 19 years old by making prank videos, right? And you can have the celebrity status and all this wacko stuff that is available on that platform. But for me personally, I said I need to be grounded. I needed to be, no matter how crazy this tornado came, good or bad, that I'd always start with giving first. I'd always try to give before I got. And then number two, I was always going to try to talk to the me 10 years ago, right? I was always going to try to talk to the young Brian, the new Brian, the scared that he just got laid off from his job Brian, he doesn't know where his next paycheck is coming Brian. I have all these grandiose plans and ideas for my future, but when I actually look at what am I going to do, I was beyond scared, nervous, deer in the headlights. So I was paralyzed. And so when somebody watches my channel, it's not like I cerebrally think this out. Okay. It's just the theme is that if you're trying to watch these videos, hopefully they're encouraging, they're uplifting, they steer you clear of some problems and some mistakes, they save you some time, some money, some hassles. And I can't teach what I don't know. So a lot of it is generally speaking geared to the newer person, the person who's been in business 5 years or less, you know. And again, my perspective might change when I'm in the industry for 20 years.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
But where I'm at right now, my macro perspective is I'm trying to help guys in those first 2 to 3 years in business save headache, save time, and not only that, capitalize on the opportunity of the upside. You know, don't do this, this, and this. Do this, this, and this instead, and you'll make triple what you were projecting in your first year. Because I've been there. My friend Brandon, he's a great example of that. He'd made triple what I made in my first year. Now, he worked his guts out, but he had really good foundation. So
awesome.
So hopefully that helps. That's a long-winded answer.
Yeah, very, very cool. So on the YouTube side, so you talked a lot about, I think you answered quite a bit there for my next question about, making it about thinking about the audience, putting the audience first, thinking about them. But what other tips could you offer for somebody that wants to build their YouTube channel in the lawn care industry? Do you do the things like the keyword research and tags and all that sort of stuff? And the second part of this question was, what would you consider your formula for success on YouTube? But I think you kind of answered that with the putting people first part of it. So maybe talk about the technical side of YouTube and the little tricks and things.
I think what I just said was probably the tip of the iceberg, because that's the part people see. But there is the rest of it. There's building a culture, building a brand, tagging meaning, like, in every YouTube video, if people don't know, there's a whole description box for tagging, because it's kind of a search engine. So I didn't know anything about SEO, and you hear that buzzword, but I didn't know what any of that meant. So I had to learn 100 hours of what SEO means, right? And then you make those titles. Well, some titles are better than less, right? And without making it clickbait, but making it compelling. So I had to learn how to craft better titles, how to edit thumbnails. I don't know how to use Photoshop or Pixlr or, these other tools out there. YouTube is a business, but it's another skill set, one that nobody was teaching me back in, middle school or high school, right? So I had to learn all this stuff. And it's not woe is me. It's just, that's what most people don't understand when they get started in YouTube, right? That's what they don't understand when they get started in lawn care. You mean there's paperwork and estimates and picking up material and there's thought process behind everything. Yes, it's not just running a lawnmower up and down the front yard, right? So I think, and by the way, everything I've learned, I have literally learned from Googling it on YouTube, like how to craft better thumbnails, how to tag a YouTube video, best times to upload a video, best description, best ways to make descriptions, everything you can ever imagine about life. Number one, you could punch it into Google or YouTube. I was joking with my wife the other day about this. I said, almost every question has been asked and documented on planet Earth. And I'm still waiting to somebody prove me wrong on not having a video come up on YouTube where somebody talked about that idea, right? Like how to fix a treadmill belt on a treadmill. There's a video. Like we always talk about how to replace a blinker on a 2004 Jetta. There's a video. It's just so I mean, that's what people don't understand, is that the resources available to you are infiniteless. And I feel like what most people do is they make excuses instead of fixing themselves and understanding their themselves. They point everywhere else. Well, unfortunately, there's no more excuses on planet Earth today, because all the knowledge is available to you. So if you don't want to execute, that's totally fine. That's a different conversation.
That's different.
But if it's not like I know something that you don't know, it's just like you said at the very beginning, that willingness to learn and accept responsibility. Simple answer though, if you upload 3 or 4 times a week, generally speaking, you're going to have better videos. If you have a value proposition, maybe like, why should people watch your videos? What's your channel all about? Maybe that could help out a little bit. And just Google best practices. There's tons of answers out there. You can figure it out. Watch my videos.
And there you go. And Google gives you the analytics side is insane. Like you can see how long people are watching your videos, when they drop off of your video, and you can
Yeah.
put those clues together to sort of craft your next videos of,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So it's pretty amazing.
Yep.
Your Instagram account as well has been pretty crazy. This I've talked about on the podcast how I was bugging you to get into Instagram a couple years ago, and you
Thank you.
reluctantly started. And this past year, I think I had like 3,000 followers when you started at 0. And this
Mhm.
past year, you surpassed me, which I thought was like, that's insane. And I think I texted you even saying the student becomes the teacher now.
Right.
Like, and I'm asking you, what are you doing to get like this? But what's even crazier to me is that your Brandon,
Yeah.
you've taken under your wing, has now surpassed me on Instagram. I'm like, in 1 year, I'm like,
Mhm.
I've been working at this for like going on 4 years now.
Sure.
So
Sure.
what are you teaching on
Uh, so and you
and when did
know,
the tickets go on sale? Because I'm the first to come to that seminar.
so here's a really good analogy, and you'll probably appreciate this because you even brought this up, right? Imagine a Rubik's cube, right? Some people, and I heard a guy say this once, and it was fascinating to me. He said, when you look at somebody successful, they're like that person that can solve that Rubik's cube in 45 seconds or less, right?
Yeah.
And guys like you and me, maybe not you, but definitely me, I try to solve a Rubik's cube. It takes me 5 minutes. I make no progress, and I hate it.
Mm.
And then I throw the Rubik's cube across the room, right? That's the success analogy that I've learned about a lot of things. That I don't do a lot of things, but the things I do, I try to invest all in.
Mm.
And so to grow a YouTube channel, there's not 19 things or 200 things you have to do. There's 6 or 7 things you have to do. And so I'm that guy that I'll solve that Rubik's cube in 45 seconds. And you think I'm a genius.
Mm.
What I don't tell you is that I actually bought the Spark Notes, Cliff Notes version about how to solve a Rubik's cube in 90 seconds or less. For $20, I bought that book.
Yeah.
And you think I'm a genius. The reality is that there's 45 moves I have to do to solve it.
Mm.
And so a lot of people, if there's any one thing people could get out of this kind of a podcast, it's to start learning from people who have been there, done that, but get good coaching and mentorship in anything you do, because you're going to learn from those guys that can solve that puzzle piece in 45 seconds or less. I think a lot of people, and it's almost sick in our society today, they find pride in failing. They find pride in being cheap and not investing in themselves or good knowledge or education.
Mm-hmm.
See, what people don't see on the back end is that, and I'm just going to talk about me for a minute, and if people don't like it, that's okay.
Yeah.
But the reality is that I've spent thousands of dollars getting around Keith Kalfas, learning about SEO and marketing.
Yeah.
I've spent thousands of dollars getting around other YouTubers and asking best practices. I've spent thousands of dollars in nights and weekends and investments and plane trips and steak dinners.
Yeah.
And I still do around everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the secret. The secret is that I've gotten thought process from all these top people, and I'm trying to do that. And by the way, I had no connections. I had no contacts. I had nothing. I still am shocked I've made it this far.
Mm-hmm.
But I was wise enough to know that unless I had good coaching and thought process and the best knowledge, that I probably wouldn't make it very far. And so Instagram, it's a very simple formula as well. There's certain times to post every day.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain ways to shoot photos. There's certain ways to tag. But I think, again, you have to marry that with the human element. You're trying to build a brand and a community and help people out. Everybody's like, what's the best angle to shoot a photo? What's the best hashtags? Mm-hmm. Well, the reality is that why are you even making a photo and a post in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
I get people asking me all the time, like, how do I get more followers? I go, why do you want more followers?
Yeah.
Well, how do I get more people to like my photo? Why do you want more people to like your photo?
Yeah.
And the minute I ask a question like that, I almost unravel everybody's present, that basket, that everything falls apart instantly because it's so paper. And I'm being respectful. Like, it's so, most people don't know why they're doing what they do. I don't grow my Instagram to get numbers and likes and follows. I do it to reach more people and to help more people. Yeah. And so that's the reason I say all that, is that there's no secrets. The secret is that well, there's no secret. The secret is that, right? But
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong answer. It's just you have to figure out why you're doing what you're doing, being intentional. There's better times to post on Instagram during the day than less times, right? You would assume that.
Yeah.
And so I could dispense a lot of that information. I think right here might not be the best time and place, but the reality is that what's stopping somebody else from buying somebody else's steak dinner? I mean, anybody on YouTube right now, there isn't a single person who I haven't picked their brain, bugged them probably, maybe borderline stalker. How did you grow your YouTube channel? If we're meeting up at so-and-so place, can I buy you dinner? My friend Mike with Bedell Property Management, the Duffy Landscaper, he's part of the UAG. I've spent a half dozen $150 dinners just asking about snow. I think that's probably the one thing that, if there's like one secret I have, is that I've spent a lot of money learning how to chase down that good that information. By the way, another thing is that with Brandon and I, what you already kind of hit the nail on the head was, it's collaboration versus competition.
Yeah.
When you go through life, we're all taught, don't cheat and don't look at the other classmates' test, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's literally, in my opinion, the worst thought process ever for business.
Yeah.
Business is all about networking, collaboration, community.
Yeah.
And if you just have competition with each other, nobody gains, nobody succeeds, nobody learns best practices.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is a fantastic example of this. Elon Musk gives away his patents.
Yeah.
They're public use.
Yeah.
That's worth tens, if not 50s, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in residuals to his company. But he's doing it because he believes in helping humanity.
Yeah.
So to him, if humanity wins, he wins.
Yeah.
But if you're General Motors, who just laid off 20,000 people, because that's right where I live, it's all profit driven.
Yeah.
And why do I not buy a GM? Is it because I hate GM? And why do I like Tesla? Because I like Elon? Maybe it's what's behind the sauce. It's behind the person's motive. It's the philosophy. Yeah. And if you like domestics, buy your Escalades, okay? I don't care. I like Escalades too. I'm just saying there's more to it, and most people don't go a layer deeper.
Yeah.
So that's that's my long-winded answer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's always the same argument with, Apple versus PC and stuff. And you get all the PC guys going, why would you pay so much for a inferior product? It's like 3-year-old technology and stuff, because of just the way it works. It's simple. It's simple, stupid. Like, there's no thought process. Yes, a monkey can, and you get that, even a monkey. Yeah, you're right. Even a monkey could use it. And that's why it's so popular, because you don't have to worry about it. I don't need to have, even when I think about my wife even and her iPhone, there's stuff she still doesn't know how to do. And it's so simple to do, but that's the 90% of the thing. And it's just that thought, it may be changing now with Apple a bit. They seem to be a lot more profit driven in the last few years. But the original Steve Jobs sort of intent sort of lingers to today.
And again, like that's some deep stuff. If you're 19, are you focused on all of that? What I just said? Probably not, right? But the reality is that there are secrets. There's reasons why some things work better than others. There's reasons why some people look like they're doing better than others. Maybe it's all those little details behind the scenes that people don't pay attention to. It's not just uploading videos and trying to make stuff work. It's not just 5 times a week instead of 4 times a week. There's more that goes into it.
Yeah. So where was I here? Oh, okay. So besides all the YouTube stuff, we've touched on this a bit. You've been mentoring your friend Brandon during his first year. So maybe speak a bit about that experience. I love this especially because when I'm doing the interviews for Lawn Care, one of my most favorite questions to ask is give your best piece of advice to somebody that wants to start a lawn care business, but to do it in the mindset of this is a person that you really like and that you only want to see the best for. And I see this translate in all those videos that you do with Brandon and his first year. It's clear that you want him to succeed.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Brandon, one thing, I'm trying to fix the power cable on my laptop here. My bad.
No problem.
Like 3%. But I think one thing that most people don't give Brandon enough credit for, if even anybody's followed my friend Brandon, is he's a really hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
That guy has worked his guts out like nobody's business.
Yeah.
He has done everything on his own to a degree. I mean, I haven't taken any credit for anything he's done or accomplished. I've just been here to facilitate some of that thought process on the back end to help him out, to save him some of those same pains and growing pains that I had to go through with my business, right? I'm really proud of the kid. He's done a great job. I think helping each other, again, the more I help him succeed, the more I can use him as a resource, and we build each other up, whether it's on Instagram or his personal landscaping business. He's going to be a really good asset to me, to be a good subcontractor for landscape jobs. So you betcha, I'm really thankful that he's succeeding. If I wasn't, it'd be one of those things where, you know, who knows where I'd be if I didn't have another good subcontract out there. So I'd say, thanks, babe. Wife helped me out with the power cable, right? I'd say I'd be being selfish with my thought process or my knowledge on certain things. I could be, but I think most people are afraid of like having a good employee and that employee quitting and starting their own gig. Well, maybe yes, maybe no. But the reality is that if he leaves and blossoms, now we can network and have an even bigger partnership. Yeah. And I think it's just like that on YouTube. Like if my channel grows, hopefully I can help your channel grow. It's not just about me succeeding. It's about everybody succeeding, right? The
awesome
rising tide raises all ships analogy, right?
Yeah. Awesome. So, it was cool to see, especially during the GIE time, following along on Instagram and stuff, people posting video or picture in the parking lot and posing with Brandon's truck because they recognized it, right? And it's like, that's so cool, right? Like he's just hit the scene and people are already taking photos with his truck and stuff. He's not even around. It's just like,
I'm telling you what, man, him and my friend Mike, they're both really smart dudes in their own right with what they have going on. And we call it the Three Amigos, right? The posse, you know? So, but again, I'm not going to take any credit for anything that either of those guys have done or accomplished. I learned from both of them. I'm sure they learn a little bit from me, but the reality is that we're just a team, man. And when you have good people around you, you're a force to be reckoned with. And I'm talking about our actual traditional business. Like I use those guys all the time for subcontractor work, and we make money together. We make a lot of money together. Cool. We just did a really good video on all that. So it'll be pretty cool to see how that come out.
Awesome. So I've got 2 more questions for you. So the second last question here is this past season, how do you feel about the support and community that is being built around the Brian's Lawn Maintenance brand? So this past season, you opened a Teespring store and released merch, including hoodies and t-shirts. And I noticed in the past posts for Christmas that where there was even kids that had Brian's Lawn Maintenance merch on their Christmas list. Wow. Did you ever imagine something like that happening?
Not at all, man. Let's be honest. I want to say yes. I want to be like, yeah, of course. But no, it was just, it's all like it's not like fun where I mean, like, I'm just, you know, shocked, you know, it's intentional, but I never like really put all those pieces together, but I'm just, I'm learning every day as we go, like I said, and it's cool. I feel like there's some validation if people do want to support us and buy stuff like that. So I'm learning how to accept it, I guess, you know, because I don't know how to really take all that.
It's fun to watch.
It is.
Like, no scenarios, right, where you have kids that want to wear your stuff. It's like, that's so cool.
I'm telling you, it's I'm still, when I have a better answer, rain check on that one, you know, but it's really cool to have people supporting you and encourage what you're doing. And it is fun. It's fun. It's a lot of work, but I guess I'm starting to see some of those results and the fruit of that labor come in. So I always tell people, if there's anything I can do for anybody, as long as I got the time and the energy and the resources, we're givers. Whatever we can do to help. There's no ulterior motives, you know. It's just, and by the way, we're just getting started, because what we're going to be launching in the next 4 weeks is going to be insane. What I'm going to be doing next November is going to be insane and more insane. And it's just, we're just getting started, because I'm seeing the vacuum and the need and what people are really asking for. And as good as we're doing, there's other ways I need to facilitate things to help people out.
Mhm.
And we're going to be launching some stuff this summer, which is putting me out of a comfort zone like you wouldn't imagine. And
Cool.
so hopefully people receive it with the right spirit and they're enjoying it. And I think they will. It's going to be a game changer for our industry. And
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm nervous and excited. So
Cool. So is that that just put another thought in my head before the last question here? But is that going to qualify for the Brian's 10 phenomenon that seems to be sweeping the nation at the moment?
Dude, I love it, man. So some people started like making fun of the Brian's 10, and I said, and I didn't even know like people were making fun and poking at it. And I said, okay, so then we started reaching out to more companies, and Brian's 10, the code thing came out literally because I had a partnership with Mechanics 3 years ago. And the whole idea was the guy was like, hey, if people want to save a few bucks, then let's make a little code Brian's 10. And I had 100 subscribers on YouTube. I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. And then it turned into another half dozen partners over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I had no idea that people would laugh and have so much fun with it than they have. Because now we have people trying to use it at you saw probably the same messages on Instagram. One guy tried to use it at Walmart. One guy tried using it at Hooters. One guy tried to use, which I don't endorse any of this, by the way, but if you get a fun story, shoot me a message, right?
That's funny.
I think people are always surprised when they shoot me a message on Instagram and I reply back in an hour and they're like, oh my God, he does exist. And I'm like, who do you like I've got my smartphone here. Like, who do you think is on the other end? And I eat that stuff up because it's funny. But one guy, he was at Walmart and he's like, he went to the checkout. He was telling the story. And the lady said, what's the promo code? And he goes, Brian's 10. And she goes, well, it's not coming up in the computer. Let me get a manager override. Sometimes these computers don't update with that code yet. And the guy got like $10 off his $100 order.
That's hilarious.
I'm not endorsing that, but you know.
They're probably still scratching their heads going, what's this Brian?
Who's a Brian's 10? So we get people using it at like coffee and fast food restaurants. And of course people are, we're just having fun. I mean, it's just, it was never an idea to like make millions of dollars with YouTube. It's like, it was never designed for that. It was designed to help people save a few bucks with a couple different partners. And then full disclosure, some of them turned into affiliate partners where we earn a kickback. And I tell people, and you're in the same boat, when people use those codes to support us, it gives us honestly a budget to make more videos. It's not for me to move into a 5,000 square foot mansion. Maybe in 10 years with the YouTube money, it will help me pay some bills, or 5 years from now, a couple years from now. But the reality is that it's just a way to help fund the business and the YouTube channel. Because this stuff isn't cheap, man. Like some of these cameras, $2,000, man. People have no idea.
Crazy. Crazy. So last
Brian's
question.
10, baby.
Yeah, there you go. Brian's 10. So last question. So let's talk about, and I jokingly refer to this as the Great Lawntrepreneur T-shirt debacle of 2018. So we can't end a talk without this. So as many and people might know and might not know about that, and having you had put out your Lawntrepreneur shirts, and some people kind of came, which I appreciate, they came to my defense. Because I also had a Lawntrepreneur shirt that was on sale for a few months earlier. But what they didn't know was that you called me before putting your shirt for sale, and was like, and I'm talking, when you called me, I literally hit upload on my YouTube video and I was wearing the shirt, and 5 minutes didn't go by when my phone was ringing with Brian's Lawn Maintenance going, dude, I had the exact same idea. I was going to put out, like, my shirts are in the works right now and stuff like that. And you legitimately felt troubled or conflicted about what to do about it. And you asked my permission, like, would you feel okay if I put out the shirt? And I said, point blank, I don't own a trademark. It's not trademarked. So absolutely, like, put it out. So people came to my defense, and I appreciate that. And I probably got a bunch of sales of shirts because people all of a sudden kind of had a bit of a backlash against you because they thought you were ripping off my idea and stuff like that.
100%.
But it wasn't, wasn't the case. It was, I knew full well that you were putting out the shirt before you did. You called me up front to say that you were going to do it.
Yep.
And, we remained talking and stuff like that. People thought there was this big rift or things like that. And ironically, I got messages from brands saying, hey, really like how you handled that situation
Mm-hmm.
with the thing. And I was like, there's more to it. It's just a t-shirt,
Yep.
even if,
Yep.
even if there, was, and I'm obviously already explained that it wasn't because you called me and all that stuff. But even if somebody were to do that and thing, it's not worth the drama online for the amount of sales that you're going to get. And like I said to people, Brian's following is so much bigger than mine, and his followers, most of them don't even know I exist. That's just the reality of it. So him putting out that shirt is not taking sales away from me, because those people wouldn't have bought my shirt anyways. It doesn't make a difference. And now I look back and there's other people putting out L'Entrepreneur shirts. So now I've been having fun with it. I think one of my last podcasts, I put my own advertisement for my shirt, and I said, get the original L'Entrepreneur shirt, because now it's like a joke, because it's like all these other people, and nobody's getting mad at them for putting out. And I had people messaging me and going, did this company rip off your shirt idea and stuff? And I'm like, whatever, like it's that's so 2018, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, and it's so cool, like, to have mature conversation, because you and I had talked a half dozen times during that like 6-week window, because you would have thought that like I kicked a baby or something, man. Like it was crazy. like just and it was funny because it's funny, when that video uploaded, I was subscribed and I got the notification, right? So I support other people, which is important. But I literally like I told my wife, she was in the living room, I said, holy crap, like I just was working on this whole, this takes months to set this kind of stuff up, and boom, like screeching halt. And we were like a week away from hitting like publish, right? Or making it public, or whatever you call it. And it absolutely, I wanted to call and respectfully be like, hey, I everything you just said, ditto. I said, I don't want to take anything away from you. I will not even do that shirt. And you're like, dude, I'm Canada. I get along with everybody. It's no big deal. And I was very, very thankful. And like you even said, like you were saying earlier about somebody else wanting to start a podcast. Like you don't have to ask permission to start a podcast in lawn care. And you're like, you have a right to do whatever you want to do. I could have made a shirt, but I so value community over competition is a hashtag out there. And I think a lot of people are realizing, like, I'm not here to take anything away from anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody or ever be malicious. And I really appreciated the two-way street that we had. Now, again, outside looking in, some people didn't have that context. Some people didn't know we were friends. Some people didn't know I had called you within 90 seconds, probably, like you said, of that video going up, and seeing if it was cool with you. And if you said no, quite honestly, respectfully, I would have probably got a different design. And so, but some people don't like seeing some people succeed. Some people, it was a good talking point. I guess, I was only 31 at the time, or 32. I guess I thought everybody had more work on their calendar for their actual business than to worry about what two other guys are doing with making a t-shirt and making, $5 off a shirt. I guess I was wrong. Apparently, I'm a bigger talking point than I thought. And than some people would have alluded to or let on, but that's okay. Again, I don't think there's anything malicious or intentional or anything. They just didn't have the full picture. And so my role is just to have grace and just to let it go. I actually had a handful of those people that got caught up in that apologize. And that was a very, what would you call it? Like a character defining moment for those people, because it made my respect for those individuals go up more. The damage was already done, which could have, would have happened, but they didn't know. And so if somebody, does that, I don't take it personal. Again, it was just another lesson. So there was no, between me and you, we were laughing all along the way. We were having a good time. So again, there was no debacle between you and I, but if there was a rift in the community, then again, it was a mistake, sorta, but it wasn't like it was orchestrated or intentional. It was just two guys doing the same thing at once, and who would have thought, right? But
Yeah.
I guess that's a kudos to us because what do they say? Great minds think alike. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the. I think I told you too at that time, because I was like, I do appreciate them standing up for me and
Totally.
having my back and stuff. But at the same time, I said, you're doing this content and you're thinking about, hey, wouldn't it be cool to make a T-shirt and sell it and have people wear it?
Sure.
And it kind of put a damper on that for me because I was like, well, now I'm conflicted. I was so excited about this shirt, and now I'm all of a sudden getting these, a bump in sales because of this controversy. But now, say I go to GIE or something like that and I see somebody wearing my shirt. Are they wearing it because they're truly a fan of me, or are they wearing it because they don't like Brian's Lawn Maintenance?
Sure.
And I was like, that sucks. And I told you right away, I'd rather just take all my shirts off, not make them for sale, because I said, if that's why people are buying them, I don't, don't buy them. Don't do me any favors.
I can't agree more. It's like some people I like this guy's channel, but I don't like this guy's YouTube channel. I'm going to dislike that guy's channel and like your channel. Well, please, honest answer. Please don't do that. That other guy put in a lot of time and energy and effort. Don't do that, please. I'd rather you dislike my video than dislike somebody else's video. I can take it. And the same thing about the shirts. Like, if those people probably didn't know that what they were doing was going to have the same ramification that did with me, and then also did to you unbeknownst. But again, most people, they don't think big picture. They don't think long term. And I'm not trying to slate anybody on that. I can't say that I wouldn't have maybe done what they had done as well. Right. So, but you know what? It was a learning lesson for a lot of people, many people involved. But if you're still scratching your head wondering what we're talking about, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It was a debacle of lawn care people selling T-shirts. And if you're like, really, people got caught up in that? Well, people are people. And
I think, like you said, people maybe sometimes unintentionally just just acted before thinking it out. And sort of, then it kind of got bigger than what it should have. But it was, what was cool though, was the people that started posting pictures of buying both shirts.
And
I was
going to say that.
I was like, that was cool, right? Because it was like, community. It doesn't matter,
community over competition.
Yeah, it's like if you wear my shirt today, it's gonna smell pretty rank tomorrow. So you might as well have another one to put on for the next day, right?
For sure.
I always thought of it in the sense of, if I provide lawn care in a specific city, and I'm the one that invented lawn care, I'm not going to stop everybody else from across the country providing lawn care because I don't service those. It's the same with the shirts. My audience is my audience. It's going to this audience. I'm not going to prevent somebody else from, making those sales and stuff because it's completely different, right? And I would gather even the person that has the next version for sale, the third version for sale, is the same thing. It's a completely different audience. It's a completely thing, right? So it's like, whatever. It's no.
I got all these other things going on in life, and then I got this that comes out of nowhere, and I was really? I have to worry about this now?
I know,
but it's okay. Again, it's and then people are wondering why does he have affiliate codes? Well, because I have to spend hours dealing with crap you never even would have thought would come up. But again, I didn't know. You didn't know. I didn't know. We all learned. I 100% know you and I are better friends because of it. Things didn't break down. The communication increased, and it's just how you want to put a positive spin on it. We both learned lessons. It was incredible. But you know what? Nobody's going to get in the way of me being friends with people and having the opportunity to network and connect and to help you and you help me, because we're all about helping the community, and that's how the community wins. So
absolutely.
Hey,
awesome. So thanks so much. I was so excited to have you back on the show. You got your puppy there.
This is my dog Teddy. What's up, man?
He's been so quiet, so well behaved there.
You just want to make your debut right now? Oh, well, the wifey just left. All right.
Oh,
the wifey just left.
Okay. That's awesome. So thank you very much for taking the time and coming on the show again. I really do.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother. This is my crazy Pomsky, but that's a good ending right there. Thanks for having me. And we got to do it again sometime. But I appreciate the podcast. Every Tuesday they go up, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's right, because I
absolutely.
get them.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
I
there you go.
appreciate it, brother. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Awesome.
You're making a
All right.
huge dent in the community. So thank you.